Hi, you're watching another episode of Speak Up for Blue TV. Not only the place where you get the latest, greatest, and not so greatest ocean conservation news happening around the world, but you get my take on it. And I'm Andrew Lewin, founder of SpeakUpForBlue.com, a site that supports ocean conservation through awareness, education, and action. Welcome to the Thursday show, and today we're going to switch things up a little bit, and we're going to profile an organization that is on the web, and it's a fantastic website that I had to share with you guys. And we're also going to profile one of the species on it because I think that's really interesting and cool, and it actually demands urgent action. One of the most critically endangered mammals that are around today. So, like I said, today both of our topics are on the exact same organization called ARKive, ARKive. And ARKive is a product of another nonprofit organization called Wildscreen. Both of these organizations dedicate their time and effort to provide public understanding and appreciation for the world's biodiversity and the need for its conservation. And the way they do it is they do it through imagery and videos. So the organization is headed by two very prominent figures in conservation in general, not just ocean conservation, Sir David Attenborough and Dr. Sylvia Earle. Now they got together, as there are other people involved, but these are the two most notable ones. They got together because they realized that the world's biodiversity was declining at a phenomenal rate, which everybody knows. But they wanted to make sure the public knew about these species so something could be done about it. And the way they thought that they could inspire people is by assembling all these images and all these videos that are around the world, that are scattered around the world, where we don't have access. They're not access to the public. Some photographers may just keep them on their desktop. Some videographers may do the same, but they want to get their message out there. So Wildscreen and ARKive got together and put this website together, this huge database of animals from all over the world, on the ocean, on land, in fresh water and lakes, and put together a great educational resource in the form of a website where there's games and fun and everything. So before I go ramble on, let's take you to the website and let's see what we can find. I'll give you a little tour. So here we are on the front page of the website. So it's www.arkive.org. And when you first come to the site, you just see, the colors are brilliant. The photography in here is just amazing. And then you have two of these animated figures over here to promote their app. That's a game, which is really cool, which I'll profile another time. But the one thing you see constantly when you see this website is they're profiling endangered species. You just saw the scalloped hammerhead, got the macaroni penguin. There's the Iberian lynx. Like I said, it's terrestrial and ocean, and it just keeps going on and on and on. Here's the eastern gorilla, and there's more. So let's just see what we can find when we're exploring this ARKive site. So you can search species by various categories. So you can go with all species and just take a look at them. So let's just try that. So you've got all these alphabetical order. You can take a look at anything you want. You've got you can look it up by mammals. So let's actually look up the blue whale here. Let's go for an ocean. We're an ocean site. Let's go for an ocean species. So you look up, say, the blue whale. Okay, it's endangered. It's got a little endangered sticker here, and it's by the IUCN. On the right-hand column over here, you can see all the categories you can look up. It starts off with a description of the blue whale. It gives a basic description of what it's like, how big it is, its unique features, and things like that. You can look at the facts, where you can look at its taxonomy, where the names come from, and a bit of the history of the naming system. You can look at the lengths and the weights. 120 tons. This thing is huge. Apparently, its heart is as big as a Volkswagen. You can look at the status, classified as endangered on the IUCN Red List, which is sort of the international list for endangered animals. Of course, we got the description. We've got the range of where it migrates and where it occurs. You've got habitat, biology, threats, conservation efforts, links to find out more. You've got a glossary that kind of tells you about sort of some of the terms that are there so you can understand it. I mean, it's just amazing. Of course, I can't stress enough, you've got multiple pictures that you can look at. And I mean, this imagery is just amazing. You know, there's one calf and its mother. You know, a little bit of a breach there. You know, blue whale calf breaching. And it's got videos as well. I won't play the videos right now. I'll let you watch those on your own. Just it's a little taxing on the video here when I play it. But again, it's just amazing. Let's go back to the Explorer and let's just see what we can. I get really excited when I get on this site because there's so much fun stuff to do. And speaking of fun stuff, let's just look. Well, let's look at the topics here. You know, you got climate. You can look at it by climate change. You know, look at this image of this polar bear jumping. I mean, that's fantastic. Imagine that, watching that in the wild. Of course, not jumping for you. That'd be kind of scary. But you know, you got the overview of climate change. You've got an introduction. You've got the evidence. You know, the causes, the effects, how to help prevent climate change. Just so much information. And going back to that fun stuff, let's look at the fun stuff here. You know, you've got animal mass. You've got little different activities you can do with students. So teachers, it's got all these things. It's got scrapbooks. It's got games, e-cards, everything. I mean, this thing is just a wealth of knowledge for everything you need. You can do educational resources by age group. Like I said, there's an app over here. You know, one thing I really wanted to look at was Google Earth, and everybody is pretty familiar with Google Earth. But what happens is ARKive has a layer in Google Earth, and you can see all these little boxes that show up. And actually, let's look at somewhere here in the United States. Well, actually, no, let's look somewhere international for me that I don't really know much about. Actually, it's actually going towards the species that we want to profile today. So we're going to zoom in here. Here we are. There's the Mediterranean. You can see, as you zoom in to a certain level, to a certain scale, you're going to see here the names pop up of the species that are being profiled. So you got black corals, you got the angel shark down here, giant devil ray, and of course we got our Mediterranean monk seal, which just coincidence happens to be our species that we're going to profile this week on Speak Up for Blue TV here. So I'm going to click on this. So it gives you a little bit of a description of the Mediterranean monk seal and the location. So the Desertus Islands, I think I'm pronouncing that properly, are strictly protected by key pupping sites for the Mediterranean monk seal. And you can for more videos and images, you click here, and what it does is it takes you back to the profile page, similar to what we saw in the blue whale, for the blue whale. And here you can see it's a critical tag. So this is one of in the description, the Mediterranean monk seal is one of the most endangered mammals in the world. And if you go to the where is it? If you go to the threats, or actually let's go to the range. And normally it was widespread. It used to be widespread around the Mediterranean, the Black Sea, and the northwest coast of Africa. But the problem is it's suffered a devastating decline. And now there's only about 400 to 500 individuals worldwide in the area. And they generally are in scattered areas, scattered colonies in the Ionian and Asian seas. It's in the southern coast of Turkey and the Mediterranean, and as well as scattered other populations along the coast of the Western Sahara and Mauritania Islands and Desertus Islands and Madeira, like we just saw. So there's not many places where you can find these spectacular animals. And the reasons why, so you can go to the threats, the reasons why they're doing so poorly is, of course, human-induced. A lot of beaches where seals go to reproduce are being either developed for tourism or some sort of coastal development. Sometimes the species are deliberately killed by fishermen who perceive the species as a competitor for fish. They get entangled in fishing gear and die because they can't breathe after they get entangled. You know, and also they get disease and effects of toxicity from toxic algal blooms. And what that means is fish will swim in a certain area, and this area may have a toxic algal bloom. A lot of people have heard of it as red tide, you know, which essentially is a species that actually is toxic to fish and humans as well, and any other species, especially if they're gobbled in a large amount. So the fish will eat them. the seals will eat the fish, and if the seals eat enough fish, they will accumulate all those toxins and they will die. And there's been quite a problem in there, where in 1997, 2/3 of the seals in the largest population located at Cape Blanc, Mauritania, were lost due to accumulation of toxins in fish following an algal bloom. So, this can wipe out 2/3 of a population, which is very significant when you have 400 to 500 animals. So, you click here on the conservation efforts, and you look at what's being done for the conservation of the Mediterranean monk seal. And in this, I won't read it all, but essentially what it says, in a lot of areas, the authorities are coming up with some type of reproduction program. And they're also trying to reduce any human-induced mortalities of the species. So essentially, they're trying to work with fishermen to not kill these animals, try to get them untangled safely where they can be released without harm, and reduce those mortalities to let the population reproduce. Also, they'll probably want to protect some of the beach areas so that the animals can go reproduce, have their pups, and they'll grow. The problem is some of the proposed conservation efforts for the reproduction program is a captive reproduction program. Essentially, where they bring them on, they catch some two animals, a male and a female, or a number of them. They allow them to reproduce in captivity, and then they release the young when they're ready. But some experts have problems with that because they're worried that it's going to disrupt the wild population. And the major factor is they're worried that the captive pups or young will not mingle or intermingle with the wild populations because they don't know the wild populations. They're not familiar how to act in the wild, and they may die because they're not used to predators being around and things like that. So this species one thing that everybody agrees on is urgent. There's definitely an urgency to protect this species. So I wanted to profile this species, especially on ARKive, because it's got so much information. Because there's only 400 to 500 species left, and definitely out of all the animals in the sea, or all the mammals in the sea, this one needs our most focus and our most action in terms of conservation. So take a look around. Take a look around more. You can find out more with the different links. Find out what conservation programs are being done now. Take a look at some of the videos that are around. Take a look at the pictures. I mean, this is a really, really cool site. It's a really cool animal, really, on the monk seal. So, for those of you who don't know about the monk seal, you have your chance to do it. And of course, share the information. You can go here, share. You can share on Facebook. You can share on Google. I've already shared it, but let's share this information. I'm going to +1 it because I'm signed into my Google Plus account. So this is one of those things that is important to share. It's important to get other people educated, make other people aware. So that's ARKive. That's the Mediterranean monk seal. But I want to leave you, before we go, I want to leave you with one question. The question is do you believe that captive bred programs for mammals, marine mammals like the monk seal, are actually worthwhile and actually work to help the species repopulate and grow? Let me know in the comments below as usual, and as usual, please share these videos with your family, your friends, your network, your social network. It's very important that we get the word out there for this monk seal, and it's very important that we raise awareness of what's happening in the ocean worldwide, and I try and do that through these videos, through Speak Up for Blue. So share the content, go to the site, links are all below in the description, comment on it, subscribe, like the video, do what you can. Let's work together, build a community, and share the information and raise awareness around the world. Until next time, I'm Andrew Lewin, founder of SpeakUpForBlue.com. Happy conservation.